All right, trading recap that we do daily here for this Friday, the 26th of November, 2021. Half day today on the market after Thanksgiving Day yesterday. All the markets taking a little bit of a tumble, though, after apparently new COVID variant spread or new variant strain out. As of right now, I didn't see any hard news catalysts on this, which is the weird thing, but heard from other sources as well. So the market didn't like it anyway, whatever it was. VIX taking a huge spike off of that as well, throwing in some major volatility back at 29. We're closing here. So we'll see if the trend continues on of normally, unless it's this huge, we get back into this huge, crazy 2020 March drop off. It's kind of like a one and done event of volatility on the VIX. And I thought it was going to be a buy the dip event today off of SPY as well, and kind of off of volatility the same regard, especially with how we were opening here within the first few minutes off of SPY, but we pulled back a little bit more. So maybe it becomes a buy the dip tomorrow. It's just like, it's almost essentially like Bitcoin at this point too, just continually buying. You can never buy at a wrong price with how it just continues to keep going up and up and up. Ludicrous. Still paper trading for me on the day and everything I'm doing, maintaining that going forward with the just openness and funness and totally redirecting how I'm looking at the market in these trades, and how I go about my job as a trader as well. And even today too, I'm just feeling so much more enthused and ready to go with this, and just loose and free and able to see what's going on compared to how I was just operating in the past, which was kind of a one and done, one trade hope attempt, and really just taking whatever was with that and not getting any advanced progress from that because it was just one trade a day. If I go back to the saying of if you're trying to get better at pull-ups, do more pull-ups. So the same thing of, man, I'm kind of sucking at trading. I've been on a red streak. I got to do more trading. I got to get in the fire more and more, and I got to expose myself more and more on all my faults, on all the successful parts of it, and everywhere in between too. So taking a lot more, I won't say taking a lot more risk, but just taking a lot more action in the ring there, which is exciting for me. And it's continuing to evolve who I am as a person, as a trader as well too. So all the charts that I was in today were sub 3 million floaters, some still crazy nice percentage moves and volatility today to pair off of that huge VIX today as well. So let's get into it. Just a few little breakdowns of it. I'll start with AHPI, which is kind of an interesting one for me because it is this first green day mover off of this little COVID sector-ish news. ISPC was another one of those, kind of in this little sector of, okay, hey, we're in this new variant COVID realm. Technically, let's look at other tickers that are moving the same way. So these were a few of them that were highlighted because of that. No real news catalyst on AHPI today, but 3.1 million floater, crazy low floater. Nice percentage move from yesterday's or the previous trading day's close. And I really fell in love with the sell-off into market open. When I see that, I normally start to look for or I identify the exhaustion points or top wicking points on these ones as an easy metric to be selling as everybody else is exiting their longs, or just be a part of the overall trend of just bleeding death. It's not like I'm tricking or manipulating the stock in any way, shape, or form. I'm just following along with what the overall sentiment for the chart is on that day. And I was totally wrong on this one today, and great experience on that. And of also learning as well too that trying to do this type of play on a sector mover as well isn't always the greatest idea, and it's a first green day mover. So maybe this applies more to second day play, a third day play for a big percentage mover, and not so hot or focused of a sector as this one is today, when everybody's mind is like, okay, why are we down so much in the markets, and why is the VIX up so much? And okay, it's kind of because of these ones, even though we still did have the LGVNs, the BFRIs, which I'll get into in a little bit as well. Still other movers like this that are able to catch the attention of not only the retail trader, but and my best guess of other Wall Street players as well too, that would be intrigued in getting in these types of plays too. So I normally almost try to stick to the sidelines to a sense of just find the nickels that are just lying around, easy to pick up, and not get caught in the hayfire that is just the huge dollar volume movers on the day. Like, for instance, the AMCs and the GMEs of, there's plenty of opportunity there. But as for me of right now, as I'm still learning and continuing to grow and develop, it's just like, okay, what are the easy little low-hanging fruits that are just easy to chop off and collect the money that's there and kind of just run away as fast as I can in the opposite direction after I'm done with it. So these type of plays for me, the AHPIs, I mentioned the QLGN yesterday. This is kind of what I'm referencing is this third day-ish play, or this was kind of second day-ish play, call it, but looking for easy little morning volatility, short spike to get short into as it's continuing to break key levels. I mean, developing a position anywhere around here for me and just playing a nice, easy little sit as a short, that's the style of trade that I want to play. And then even being able to sit for much longer past this would be 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time frame. Just very easy sit or a predictable and probable play for me. That's what I was looking to hammer on AHPI today. And again, I mentioned the paper trading aspect of it. This continues to open me up more and more to be able to get back in and have that clear conscience to be able to say, okay, wow, I was wrong on that one. I'm willing to exit now and just get out and redo this one. Whereas in the past, if I was actually short this one with my sub-PDT account and like, oh, shoot, okay, am I willing to do I think it's going to come down eventually from here? Like if I'm getting, so of my two different entry points here, two different roundabout trades, on this first one where I'm saying it's a less probable trade, but the signs I'm seeing here are, okay, we're developing a lower low. We had a little fake out of a bottom here, but it's with decent volume. It's failing to continue higher. I think I'll go ahead and start a short here, and then it's starting to break down, but then it recovers and starts to break to a new little regional high here and spike above that $8 level. For me in the past, if I was holding that with my PDT account, then I would be starting to take that loss, and as it spikes all the way to VWAP, I'm saying, okay, oh, well, it's holding VWAP. It's a lot more risk than maybe I was willing to take, and now I'm kind of screwed because of like, well, do I keep sizing into this position and throw on more potential risk that it continues higher, or do I just cut it and waste the day trade and just continue on? Versus now where I'm in this totally free, huge paper account size that I can just get in, get out whenever I want. How easy and free is it for me to just say, okay, well, wow, volume's coming in, we're spanking to a new high of day, cut it, let's readjust and attack a new game plan if it wants to come out again in a little bit. Holy moly, that is just like chains released from the type of mentality that I had to hold myself into. Oh, okay, what loss am I at if it moves one tick higher? Of like, okay, what's my risk level going to be now? Okay, well, I'm double the size that I originally wanted to be in. If I was still using that PDT account, now getting another position here where I thought it was going to be a short opportunity, and like, oh, okay, no, my gosh, I'm so glad that this next step has taken place of this paper trading. That's at least for the right now, while I'm still building the account size externally. To be able to avoid all this dilemma and delusion that's opening up the eyes and being able to recognize and see without prejudice, without the pain and the fear of like, oh, what's the risk level, blah, blah, blah. I think it's a whole new chapter for me in my trading in this one. So breaking down the trades for me on this one, again, just specifically past that example, just looking to kind of short tops here, looking to short resistance. So it's the first short was, okay, yeah, you could call it a little bit of a fake out on this breaking of the bottom here as it tried to come back to VWAP in this third minute after market open, but then just tanking. But this ended up actually being the how many times we've seen that over and over again as a long entry of a bearish sign that quickly reverses, eventually kind of turns into the bullish sign or the start of the bullish move for the rest of the day. LGVN previous trading day before Thanksgiving, or a few days ago, reminds me of that or the one that was in pre-market as well too, of just that one tiny tick that gets out the easy stop and technical level to say, oh, okay. Well, if you're looking at it biased long, to say, oh, shoot, okay, well, it's done. But if you're biased on it short, you say, okay, well, this is the entry point that it would start to get you short. It's actually become the reverse on both sides, and both sides kind of end up screwed up. So I think that was the thesis or the play out on this specific candle here, this 9:34 minute candle here for Eastern Standard Time, 9:34. That started this little run up, and hard for me to say that as a long as I was kind of biased on it as a short, looking for in my mind, it was a higher probability that this thing had some amount of pullback to whether low of day or just below low of day if we cracked to a new low of day from there, but I thought the probability was higher on the short side than it was the long side on this one. That's why I went that way on the paper trading route. So that first little trade was just kind of the feeler and say, I think there is a probability here higher than 50% chance, and was wrong on that and was able to cut freely when it was proven wrong. And then we get to the second kind of VWAP rejection candle here, with pairing that with the exhaustion volume candle on the volume candle chart here, of saying, okay, wow. In order for this thing to continue, it said it's going to need a lot of volume in order to just even push it to VWAP. In order to scale this thing above VWAP, it's going to need the same, if not even more, to shove that thing even higher. So another kind of playing the odds and probability of, okay, I think there could be a probability that this thing just kind of, maybe it continues to hold here like it did the next few minutes, but I could see this thing falling off, and then the bleeding and the lack of support coming on this one to continue that price action higher from VWAP. So that would be establishing the reversal of the trend to the short side there. But it still continued to hold, got bought up after it tried to break that low of this candle here. Then we get to an actual new break of VWAP with similar volume, but for me in my state of, as I'm sitting there with a position of, it's tough too with the paper trading account, as I'm just where it decides to fill me. I know where I'm getting filled. So I'm saying, okay, I'm around 830-ish, 835-ish as an entry point. So now I'm saying, okay, as it's building and now we're coming back to VWAP and we spiking hard through, I was sitting and waiting in anticipation for that to happen, saying, yes, let's see it happen. And let's see the hard reject come back down underneath it with big volume. I think that one was another key for me that I was very able to sit through. And that's why I was able to get another short position, kind of double up on that one, to play it for the pullback under VWAP, and then play that for break to a new low of day, which didn't happen from there either. So, and the same thing of being able to cut freely and understand, okay, as it built up and put in the little double bottom here at that $8 level, continued to spike to a new high of day against me on that original VWAP upside break candle. Being able to cut there, man, it's just, okay, it didn't work, cut it and move on, go to the next one. Learn from it and adjust to say, okay, what are the factors that went against me? This was a 3 million floater. I should for funsies, not even for funsies, but for reference as well too, I should be looking at borrow fees through Trade Zero just to see, man, are they crazy, crazy high that would sometimes maybe push me against potentially getting short on these ones, that they're just so ridiculously high, or are they just crazy low? That would indicate potentially there's a lot of other shorts in this one that would, because of the easy to borrow fees, that would just manipulate or just make the price action far more crazy than I want to be a part of. So I should make that a part of my regimen as well. But just taking in that, the movement again too of, where am I going with this one? Of just being so free and able to take the cut and the loss, and even saying that on the paper aspect of, well, of like, yeah, it doesn't hurt as much because it's just paper. It's not real money, but the same light of, so is real money. Real money is just paper anyway, literal paper, right? The same thing of, it should be the same mindset all the way around. And I think that's going to be the next level of continuing to build that aspect of my trading, of kind of go to that place that this is a Vigo game. It's just numbers on a scoreboard that you're trying to get up and continue to lose that detachment to money and the value of money, and not going crazy YOLOing, obviously, on that deep end perspective of it, but understanding that this is a game. It's take the emotion out of it and lose your ego at the door, especially too. So great opportunity, great learning lessons on that one for AHPI. Get into LGVN now. Crazy volatility, if I could type it correctly. Just crazy volatility in the morning, halting up, halting down, just flip-flopping all the way around. No thank you, don't want to be a part of it. This one's continuing to hold in this crazy little range it's been in the past few trading days here, and you kind of look on this perspective of the intra-daily, I'm still kind of putting in this little wedge bottom. It's crazy to say, but it still could be apt for another potential squeeze, another potential move here. It's just kind of rinse and repeat of huge big green day, a little bit of a red day, rest day. We'll see what next week Monday brings on this one. We'll keep an eye on it, but kind of a harder sell-off into the close here. That's not the most comforting, but it's certainly come back from far worse in previous trading days on that one. And it's also short sale restricted apparently as well. So that was that one. Oh, and yeah, my little trade, just of how well it was holding. Reclaiming after this little pullback that was still holding low of day, but spiked to VWAP once again for the afternoon session for this half day of trading day. Tried to fall off again, but reclaimed again. Got an entry here for the potential move above this $37.50 range. It actually broke to a new high, but then pulled back a little bit, but still holding the low of that candle, which was my risk level-ish. And then we did get another attempt to a new break above this $38 level, and then just it was good enough volume that should have potentially snowballed it into more. That's what the trade was for me. That okay, I'm looking to play for the BFRI squeeze that we saw later today, or that crazy little short squeeze in the afternoons, but it just didn't have the legs. It started pulling back more, so I said, okay, if I had that bigger position, I'm trading all of these with that bigger position mindset. That how would I go about this with a full above PDT account, with a full position size on all of these? So saying, yeah, I just don't think the trade is there anymore at this point. So taking it off for almost break, even a little above. Great cut on that one as well. And then had another attempt, but then just hard fall off there on that one. ISPC. Another pairing this one with AHPI in that COVID sector catalyst for the news that come out today of that variant. This one just continues to love to spike in after hours for no reason. It did that on Tuesday or the Monday after hours at the start of this week, and then it did it close of Wednesday trading day, but pulled back pretty close to what it closed at the day before on that one. But then spiking hard off of that news today. Again, low floater of 2.4 million floater. I'm just looking for consolidation. Not really coming into wanting to trade this one hard out of the morning session because of just the craziness, similar to LGVN of like, just don't want to be a part of it. There's so many different eyeballs and perspectives on this that you take your ball and go play with it somewhere else. I can just sit back in the back here. I'll be totally fine with that. But it certainly did that exact same thing. First 2 minutes are spiking nicely. Second 2 minutes after that are pulling back hard to VWAP. Next 4 minutes are just big wiki candles consolidating. Then it tries to spike to new high of day, but fails at that, pulls back to VWAP again. And then just kind of, the morning lulls of just, okay, we're under VWAP, consolidating. But then a very, very nice little consolidation move here. And this was another one that Chris actually mentioned it very well too, and the same of my own review of like LGVNs, those type of plays for the future of like, if these things are just continuing to hold at some point for how low float they are for the holiday market that we're in, for just the half day trading that we're in. It's also Friday as well too, not forgetting that type of aspect. But if these things are holding, if they are not turning fully bearish, they're going to turn bullish eventually. So, and understanding how pairing that with the, if they start to turn bullish and they start to hit certain price levels, they will hit 100% off of that specific price level if you play it correctly. So this one certainly didn't hit 100%. I was thinking $40 was totally in sight today. That's what I was game planning for with a little bit. Of course, I'm trading just one share size with my paper trading on the long side on these ones. But I know if I was trading as if I did have a full account size, I would have taken much smaller size here on this one, just as a speculative, or at least taken a lot more off, been more apt to take off after this crazy spike here, as Chris did with an awesome trade on that one. And then been able to sit through the crazy pullback here and just kind of, it tries to reclaim here back to 21. Just like, was that LGVN on yesterday? Let's look at that chart again. Exactly like LGVN yesterday. We're thinking the chart is going to be there in the kind of post-morning session that it's going to be a VWAP hold here. Shorts are getting kind of screwy, iffy, but then it ends up dumping. And all the longs here that we're holding during this consolidation were screwed over. Then you get the immediate reversal to the upside, and it spanks a new high of day to 44, 45-ish. Did it get to 45? I think barely. It might have tapped there yesterday. But that's the type of market we're in, of just how sketchy and wishy-washy these things can be. Of before you know it, it's back to new high of day again. before you can even realize that you can't get comfortable with these ones. So that was the thesis on ISPC for that little trade that I was getting in here around, or actually I was buying after I caught it. Probably was going poop or something, and I cut it as it was just breaking to a new high of day here. So I got like a $21 with $1 share, with a 1 share trade on that one. That pretty much immediately after that, it's spiking at 10%. Whoopee, that's awesome. But of course, the thesis, had I been watching this one harder, and then I mentioned with a full account size, that man, I would have been far more apt to take off a buttload of the position as we're pulling it here around $22 level, especially as we're hovering around 23, you're just getting super wicky. But then also would have left maybe a quarter on, maybe a third on to say, I think this one, even if it does have a hard pullback, even if it comes below this $20 range, I certainly think it could eventually just find some amount of shorts to squeeze off of that move, off of that pullback, and catapult this thing to new high of days from there too. So, but it just didn't have the legs in it today. So continuing learning and evolving on what the market, what these charts are allowing for, as they are themselves continuing to evolve and grow that way. BFRI, last chart I will mention. Was this a News Catalyst one today? I forget. I think also that COVID sector mover as well, and also a 2.4 million floater. The same type of thing of just squeezy, McGeezy. I recorded the time and sales on this one for the other channel as well too. So that's going to be a good review for the nice up move we had. Call it post-morning session, half hour after the market bell, that we finally get a very quick and nice squeeze to new high of day from there. Play around, tickle with the shorts and their emotions, keep them on their toes for these ones, but just nothing really to continue it hard after that halt. Just a slow grind down that breaks to under VWAP and smacks with huge volume. All the longs trying to bag hold off of that halt potentially, which is unfortunate. But again, we get the reclaim. You just wait a little bit more. There will be another bus to take you to Candyland of this thing was just continuing to hold, coming back to the upside of VWAP, coming on nicely, testing these little regional highs here, and I caught it. Perfect timing that I pulled up the chart again, that I was able to get in with this first volume peak. That was just a beautiful, tight little wedge continuation or consolidation just under this $8 level, and able to use that $8 point almost as a risk that it did kind of smack just under it as it was finding itself after this little breakout. So took off, like, I got a 3 share position just to say, okay, if I was in this, I would kind of limit myself to 3 different exits. And I think that's a good idea going forward if it's, in this price range, that I'm able to do that and keep that small dollar position size for what I'm paper trading at this point. But it was, as it was hesitating here, and I'm thinking, God, it could just be a little double top fake out here. Took 1 off. I think I actually took 2 off here as it was just continuing to hold, but then I was totally dead wrong as we smacked a new high of day from there. And then again, it was just like, it's not the most strong. I just want to see that immediate awesome move there. And the fact that it wasn't happening was kind of weird to me, and that's what I was taken off here. And as it was building and consolidating for this little second attempt here just before, that would be noonish here for this little time frame, as it broke to new high of day, sold the last one thinking, okay, it could be a little fake out again, that we just smack and look awesome and nice, bring in the volume, and then just kind of fade and dump. Whether it just immediately reverses off of there, or it's just that's all the gas that it had for the day. Just kind of covering myself safe for that move. But man, 2 minutes after that, I was dead wrong again. That we tapped just under 9.5. Huge percentage move away from where my last exit was on that one. So there was a heck of a lot more room on that trade specifically that I could have played around with that one. But then again, too, of just taking the money when you can, not when you have to, of understanding that was the exhaustion point. These 3 candles and this toppy red, huge top wick, huge bottom wick candle, that's kind of the indicator for me of, okay, here's a definite possible top to be liquidating, to be taking profits, to be taken off the table. And don't play with fire, just take the money as it's there, not when you have to. And then that was, really the best opportunity. Come back a little bit, but then if you weren't out by then, you certainly had to get out super, super quick from there. And this one did halt for beyond 15 minutes closed at 10:45 here, and then had to open as we're now in after hours because this is a half day. So after hours was starting at 11 here. Yeah, crazy to see that it had that long of a halt. And then it was funny to see that the breakout on BFRI here was happening at the same time that the breakdown on ISPC was happening. So these two were kind of paired of like, as ISPC was just looking weak. Yeah, it was the same time of ISPC is like, it's not really, there's not much hope left in it. It's kind of coming on these lows here. It was almost as if you could see the attention and the eyeballs shift away from ISPC and go over to BFRI and start to push that one more when the strength on that one was coming. So just interesting to see too of how that can potentially play into. It's kind of like, it's coming in my mind of the golf on the PGA Tour of just like if there's a crowd following one guy, how they can somehow influence the guy who's on the 17th hole, of kind of the mind games that just go on that way too. Of if one stock's working, if the other one's not, then people are obviously going to go to the one that's working, on the retail side at least, for that way too. But again, a great day of learning, of trading, of going around, just going through the experience, and continuing to evolve myself as a trader and not trying to box myself in to say, I have one trade for the day, and if it's a loser, then, well, I suck, and I've got to learn from it. Versus like, no, there's so much more opportunity out there. I got to expose myself to it and continue to take failure upon failure upon failure. Versus what I was just doing of this little past stupidity of cutting losses quickly and sticking to a rule set, but just elongating my losing streak and my failure streak for no reason when I could have been just getting my hands in the dirt so much more. Now that I've kind of seen the light a little bit, I'm certainly more excited to branch out more and more on both sides and gain both perspectives on that. And just how many times can I overblow the word perspective, because I certainly just love that ideology too, especially the Chris Cady that, could get into him, but I'm just tired. I need more turkey, and I'm going to go to sleep immediately after this. But I sincerely thank you guys for watching after this Thanksgiving trading day, Black Friday trading day. We will catch you guys on the next one.